everyone, and welcome back to again the TikTok of the Jock Scientist. So today we are primarily um going to just be kind of zooming through as many of her TikToks as we can in about 30 minutes, maybe up to 45 minutes, but I don't have as long as I normally do to invest in a video this week. So we're aiming for probably around 30 minutes. But without further ado, let's just jump into it.
Apparently, a serving size of pasta is 1 cup. 1 cup dry.
Yeah, it's like 8 noodles, because serving sizes are a joke, and they're also not portion sizes. Serving sizes were born out of the USDA's creation of the nutrition label, which only happened 30 years ago. 1993 is when nutrition labels were created. They gathered a lot of these figures based on self-reported studies that they conducted where people would report how much they believed they were eating. Extremely scientific and mathematical. Because I'm always suspicious of that little turd capitalism, I think that comes into play here too with being able to label products as like low fat and low sugar because you made the serving size a literal teaspoon. In recent years though, the FDA was like, people are eating way more than these serving sizes. These labels are kind of doo-doo. We need to update that. Ice cream pints are a great example of this. Those used to be 4 servings. They're now 3 servings, and they show you a single serving and full package serving on one nutrition label. These labels are tools, not rules. Connecting with your body to understand your hunger and fullness cues goes much further to understand your portion size.
Apparently,
So, couple of things. One, a cup of dry pasta, given that pasta expands when you cook it, it's actually more food than you realize. And for me, at least, pasta should always be a side to something else, so it should not be a like primary food of your meal. There are some exceptions, like once a month or something. My family has brown butter Mrs. or cheese pasta, and that ends up being the entire meal is just the pasta. So I'm not saying that it's not like it's bad to make pasta your entire meal. I'm just saying don't aim to make it a regular main focus of your meal because you do eat more than a traditional serving size. So there's just more to it than there's more calories in there than you realize because the serving sizes are generally more than what you would put or less than what you would put on the plate. I don't think that's wrong. I will say I don't know the history of the nutrition label thing, so I don't really have the brain power to go look it up right now. The one thing I will say though is that I do like that there has been a crackdown on how nutrition labels like for fucking uh lemonade. I swear to God, I was out on like a hiking trail and we stopped by this little convenience store and somehow they were all out of bottled water. I had already had all of the water that I brought with me and they were all out of bottled water. So I'm like, okay, I'll get a lemonade. I started to drink the lemonade. It was pretty good, but I looked at the nutrition label and I drank about half of the bottle at that point. Because I had glanced at it at the beginning thinking it was for the full bottle because it's the size of a single serving bottle. The calorie information on there should be for the whole bottle, but it wasn't. It was split up into thirds. That is the fucking stupid thing, and that's one thing that I like that I do agree with Mal here on that I think it's a good thing that the nutrition labels have been changed and that it gives you for the serving as well as for the entire package. Because some of the packages that you get, you think, "Oh, this is a single serve." You look at it and if you're not paying close attention to serving sizes per bag, which not everyone does, especially if it looks like it would be a single serving, it's easy to get completely off on what you're actually eating. So I am definitely in favor of that that 2 column rule now where you kind of get the idea, especially for the smaller packaged items, of what's a serving versus what the entire container is worth. I think I like that that's happening now.
Gee, I don't know, exalted Fauci. Why would Fauci?
So the comment says, why would fat people exercise if not to lose weight? The one thing I will say is that exercise should not purely for weight loss. I mean, you can do that, but there are other benefits to exercise than simply weight loss. I'm very much in for being stronger and having more endurance when like you're running and stuff, which happens when you exercise regularly. And regardless of whether you're losing weight or not, that is a benefit.
People exercise if not to lose weight? Honestly, why are fat people even sleeping? They could just be exercising all night long. Why would a fat person drink anything except water? Why do fat people have jobs? Their job should be to lose weight. Why would a fat person eat anything except a vegetable? No butter, no oil, only leaves. This may come as a surprise to you, but fat people can exist without trying to constantly lose weight. There are endless reasons to exercise. Maybe they want to get stronger or faster or improve their bone health or their heart health or their mental health. Maybe they're competing. Maybe they have a race. Maybe they just like to fucking exercise. You guys get so hung up on the fat part that you forget the people. It's a person. And people do things for all types of reasons. Don't you dare gaslight me either. I was just asking a simple question. No, you weren't. Fat people have the same variety of interests and goals that thin people do, and they are allowed to pursue them without having to shrink themselves.
Okay, I actually don't have, I mean, I think she was a little aggressive with her answer, but I actually don't have a huge issue with what she says here. The one thing that I would like to ask though is the reverse okay with you? Because judging from your other videos, it's not. Here's the thing. Intentional weight loss, people can intentionally lose weight for a variety of reasons that may or may not be connected to what you call diet culture. And even if it is connected to diet culture, there's varying degrees of that diet culture mentality that you're talking about. So I agree. People can exercise for any number of reasons, and exercise has a lot more value to it simply than just to lose weight. That's the funny thing is that I don't disagree with her here. But the same thing can be said for trying to lose weight. The same can be said for even aesthetic goals. When people say, well, if you're losing weight just for aesthetics, that's wrong. How do you fucking know that that's wrong? Let's say like they all act like you're just trying to get the thinnest you possibly can, like uh ED levels of thin. When that's I think for most people for their weight loss, that's not the goal. Like still want to lose weight. I'm making a lot of efforts to lose weight. Primarily at this point, there is a little bit of health in there, simply that I don't like being at the high end of the overweight category for the BMI, and I would prefer to be in the healthy weight range. That's just a numbers thing that I would prefer. But then also, I gotta be honest, it's for aesthetics as well. I want to have that kind of tight, athletic looking body. Whether that's fashionable or socially desirable or what have you, I don't really care. It's about the aesthetics that I want for myself. It's not necessarily to please others, and that's the thing that I have one of the biggest issues that I have with the fat acceptance people against those losing weight for aesthetic reasons. One, there's a variety of aesthetic reasons for that. Some people want to look strong. I personally want to look strong. Some people do want to be like more sexually desirable. That's their prerogative. Like that's just one of the things where I'm like, I agree with her here, but then that same logic applies in other categories as well, including intentional weight loss and including weight loss for aesthetic reasons.
You just ate 6 hours ago. You sure you're not thirsty?
The almond mom slander is very valid, so don't get me wrong. But what is the dad equivalent? What are we calling almond dads? The diet culture dads. The black coffee only dads. The pokes your belly or pinches your legs, your thunder thigh dad. The I don't know how you eat that crap dad. The rattling off of the nutrition label in the middle of the grocery aisle dad. The making sure you are enrolled in 2 to 3 different sports at any given time so you don't get too fat dad. The you're growing a little bit too much this way and not enough this way dad. The perpetually checking their Apple Watch and getting up to make sure they're getting their step goal dad. The giant tub of protein powder on the counter dad. Moms are not the sole contributor to body image and diet issues. Come on, what are we calling them?
To a certain, here's the thing, to an extent, I agree with her that I just think the dads are a little less common. But even with the almond moms, definitely part of it I think is weight loss, but then the other part of it is just this kind of elitism around food that I've seen from the almond moms. Um, as well with the dads, enrolling your kid in three different sports so that way they never become fat. That's not the way I've ever viewed those dads. I viewed it more as, especially with like the dads with the sons, there's this toxic masculinity thing going on, but even with their daughters or like just their kids in general, enrolling them in a bunch of sports, there's this kind of vicarious living through your child. Um in like wanting the sports star because that's what they wanted when they were growing up and they couldn't for whatever reason. Like for and this could very well happen with the almond moms too. I don't know with the almond moms. I haven't been around enough almond moms. I've seen, actually, I guess now that I think about it, I've seen more like toxic sports dads than I have almond moms, which is kind of funny for where I live, but I think that's just the circles that I run in. Um, and to me, it seems more like a vicarious living situation, and the I don't know, this kind of I place my identity within my child sort of thing going on. I can't say that's the same for the almond moms. It could very well be, but that's my read on the dads. Some of those things, though, I don't think are that bad. Looking at their Apple Watch and then getting up and moving to meet their step goal, I fucking do that with my Garmin. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Rattling off the nutrition label in the grocery aisle, don't necessarily think there's an issue with that either. I don't think it's wrong to tell your kids to stop eating so much junk food. At least if you are offering them healthier alternatives, that's the big thing, is that you can't say stop eating that crap and then not give them an alternative. They're kids. Give them the alternative, the healthy alternative. It's that sort of thing. But I don't know. I want to hear your guys' opinion on this.
She deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
So, Jenny Craig, the once high flying weight loss brand, is going out of business after 40 years. Well, Jenny Craig, wasn't that the one where you had to buy like specific meal plans and like their specific microwave dinners? No wonder that's fucking going out of business. It's not um because I don't think that it's because it's weight loss. I think it's because it was a gimmicky stupid thing and people are learning how to eat real food and healthier food and seeing this for the money grab that it was. That's my perspective on that.
Stop with this body positivity bull. I'm so for being comfortable and confident in your own.
Who the fuck made you the authority on who gets to claim being confident and comfortable in their own body? You being personally offended by somebody's larger body size is an indication of a you problem. You know there's a butt coming, right?
But we need to stop glorifying obesity and bad habits.
You know, those bad habits like wearing activewear and appearing on magazine covers.
Before I even get to her argument, I just want to put out there again because this feels like a contradiction, like she'll promote it one way but not the other. You say, who are you, the one to gatekeep how someone can be confident and comfortable in their body? I would like to say the same thing to you. Who's to say that that's not someone who wants to do intentional weight loss? What if that's the key to them feeling comfortable and confident in their own body? They can accept their body the way it is, but part of accepting your body is also recognizing things that you want to change with it. Like you can accept it. You can I don't know if they understand that you can both accept something as it is, but still work to better yourself. Just want to throw that out there.
And doing yoga. I need you to quickly name an instance where you've been watching a fat person purely just exist and thought, I need to gain some weight. Because I can name several instances throughout my entire life when I have been promoted thinness above everything else.
It's quite literally going to kill our kids when they are 50.
Literally.
We need to be educating the youth on how you should actually be living a healthy lifestyle, such as exercise.
You mean like your approximation to health or a beauty standard does not give you moral high ground, especially when you're fighting representation.
Stop.
Okay, but part of healthy living is maintaining a healthy body weight. I would just like to put that out there. This is one where no, I get what this person is saying. This kind of promotion lately, lately-ish, in the past few years, of the morbidly obese exercising and then therefore being as healthy as their healthy weight counterparts. And here's the thing. I think that I don't know if I agree with like removing the showing of overweight people exercising altogether. I don't think I agree with that, and here is the reason why. There if you present it as only like the really fit people exercise, then there is this sense of why should I start, or that's so far away from me, why would I do it? I think that having showing overweight people exercising, um, creates a narrative that one, exercise is for everyone, and two, you can modify most exercises to accommodate anyone's ability and body type. And I think that that's an important narrative to present. The issue comes in when it's presented like, I exercise, therefore I am as healthy as everyone else. No, you're healthier than a lot of fat people. I'll give you that. But that doesn't mean you are as healthy as your healthy weight counterparts. You know, it's a nuance there that I think neither one of these arguments is really getting at. There's a difference between promoting fat people exercising and glorifying obesity. Those are two different things. And for me, it comes down to the overall message. If the overall message is anyone at any weight can move and become stronger and engage in healthy activities, I think that's 100% true. If the message is, look, these fat people exercise, therefore they are just as healthy as anyone else, I think that's where the issue with the messaging comes in.
It does disturb me when people feign compassion and interest.
The comment says, you know what really kills our kids? Anorexia, bulimia, orthorexia. Content like this is soma a step. So this is something else too, though. And this is another issue with the fat acceptance community is, yes, eating disorders, especially in pubescent girls, is an issue. But so is, for all children, obesity. Obesity is an issue. Obesity can have long-term effects when the child is obese or morbidly obese. That's still, like, this is not an either or situation. Both kill.
In the well-being or health of children because of the child's body size.
And I actually just want to add to that, obesity is more common than EDs, even especially in children. Like, it's more common. Obesity is more common than EDs.
Absolutely, including the American Academy of Pediatrics whack new guidelines on prescribing diet pills and weight loss surgery to literal children. Because if people, including the medical community, actually cared about the well-being of these individuals, they would recognize that children are over 200 times more likely to develop an eating disorder and have a poor relationship with food.
Yes, and part of that is that there is not enough, I think there's not enough education around nutrition and exercise to, especially teenagers, that can take a little bit more control of what they eat and what they do, and how to live a healthy life. But I think part of the reason why children are more susceptible to EDs is because they have less control over the food that's brought into the house. So more extreme measures tend to be taken, especially since kids tend to um, deal more with like absolutes, extremes, either or sort of thought processes. They don't necessarily know how to mitigate certain ideas within a healthy range. Like, we'll just say calorie restriction. There is a healthy level of calorie restriction that can happen if you are overweight, obese, or morbidly obese. There's a healthy calorie restriction there. Unfortunately, kids tend to think, at least in my experience, kids tend to think in more extremes. I need to calorie restrict to lose weight, therefore I shouldn't eat anything. That's a very common thought process, and that is ignoring the ones that just do it for a sense of control. Although control is also wrapped up in there because they can't control the food that's brought into the house. And this could also be a form of rebellion with parents that they feel don't listen to them or are overly controlling themselves. There's a lot of nuance that go into EDs that I feel like the fat acceptance movement ignores. And then also there's just, regardless of how common it is for kids to have EDs, childhood obesity is a concern, it is an issue, and it is dangerous to the children.
Their bodies than they are to ever develop type 2 diabetes, especially if they were to then go on and examine what the most fatal mental health disorder is. But I know these people clutching on to their fitness watches don't include mental health in their assessment of what makes an individual healthy. They're the same.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I think that's why I'm very much for learning moderation in all forms, because if you are obsessed with calorie restriction, if you are obsessed with exercise, then it becomes unhealthy because then it consumes your entire thought. There's a way, though, to engage in calorie restriction, a way to engage in regular exercise and stuff without it being something that is all mentally consuming.
Same people who would sooner, I don't know, remove children from a loving household and put them into a foster system simply because they were fat. I know you're traumatized, but you look great. It does.
So I want to see what that article she referenced when taking kids out of a home. So two teenagers placed in foster care after weight loss plan fails. Family court judge says parents failed to help severely overweight children and did not understand worry of West Sussex social services. So I'm curious about this now. Right, so I found it from The Guardian. No, I don't want to donate. When was this? This article is more than 3 years old, so that's first worth mentioning. This is more than 3 years old. And I'm just kind of curious what this says. So, two teenagers were removed from their parents' care after social services raised concerns about their weight to family court judge. The judge, Gillian Ellis, ruled that the children from Sussex be taken to long term foster care. She described the case as very sad and unusual. So, how heavy were the kids, is my question. Social services staff at West Sussex County Council had told a family court judge about their concerns. The local authority had provided Fitbits, fitness trackers, and paid for gym memberships for the family who had also signed up for Weight Watchers. But Ellis said months after family court proceedings began, there had been no reduction in the children's weight, and they had not provided recordings from their Fitbit or attended the Weight Watchers appointments consistently. The judge said the children's parents not seemed to understand the seriousness of concerns raised by social services staff and had failed to set boundaries and promote healthy eating and exercise. She said the children needed a chance to learn the ways of living more healthily and to improve their health by losing weight. The judge said there were also concerns about poor home conditions and lack of guidance on personal care. Everyone agrees that this is a very sad and unusual case of a loving family where the parents meet many of the basic needs of the children, but local authority has been concerned that the parents are not meeting the children's health needs, in that both children are severely overweight and the parents have shown an inability to help children manage the condition, said the judge in her ruling. She added the case was such an unusual one because the children had clearly had some very good parenting as they were polite, bright, and engaging. Detail of the case emerged in a ruling by Ellis published online on Wednesday. She had considered evidence at the private family court hearing in Sussex last year. The family could not be identified in media reports of the case. Ellis added the children had failed to engage consistently in exercise despite the local authority providing Fitbits and paying for a gym membership. The children were supposed to provide recordings from their Fitbits, but this had not been done. The mother blamed lockdown for inability to exercise, but exercise could still be taken at home or by walking outside. The attendance of the family at Weight Watchers had been inconsistent. Sorry, attendance. In 2012, a 5-year-old girl had been taken into care after her weight reached 66 kilograms, 10 stone, 5 pounds. I need to know. 145 pounds for a 5-year-old. That's what that is. More than 3 times the weight of a healthy child her age. She was placed in foster care by Newport Council, Wales. Figures in 2014 disclosed that up to 74 morbidly obese children were estimated to have been taken into care over a 5-year period across England, Wales, and Scotland. It says this article was amended March 11th of 2021 to add a metric weight measurement in accordance with our style. So unfortunately, we still don't know the weight of the children, which is what's bothering me. Okay, so I couldn't find the exact weights of the two teenagers, but given that the other example was a 5-year-old girl that was 3 times the weight of a healthy 5-year-old, I think is indicative of probably how big these teenagers were. I think if the children, she said severely overweight, but that could very well be colloquial and not medically speaking. Uh, if the children reached morbidly obese levels of weight and the family did not take adequate efforts into correcting this, then I understand why social services stepped in. The only thing is that and this is hard for me to say because this did take place in Europe and not in the U.S. So I don't know like what the difference of attendance of social services is. If this had happened in the U.S., I would say, while it is definitely a concern, there as someone who has worked in schools and has seen some of the things that kids deal with, it is not very high on my priority list given some of the other things that go ignored. But I'd like to hear your opinion on this.
Let me sit my stupid ass down.
I don't fault a single person that has had this experience because the fitness industry, and especially what social media has done to that industry, has made people feel like they need to be coming up with the most crazy movements to do in the gym. Unless you're training for something very specific, exercises can be broken into 4 categories, and your body can be broken into 6 functional movement patterns. Your categories are cardio, strength, mobility, flexibility. Your movement patterns are squat, hinge, lunge, push, pull, grip. Squatting gets you out of a chair or down onto a toilet seat. Hinging allows you to bend over and pick things up safely. Lunging helps with unilateral strength like getting up off of the floor or stepping down into a car. Pushing movements like having to move furniture or push a cart. Pulling movements like opening a door. And grip to make sure that you hold on to things and can open things. For 3 days of strength training with those movements with progressively increasing weight, you're going to maintain that strength and function. Sprinkle in some cardio and mobility and you are good to go.
So, for once, this I feel is very much her speaking in her lane. Like, she is an exercise physiologist. This feels like genuinely good information that's broken up. And as she's breaking them down, she even gives examples of exercises that someone can do. I think that this was actually pretty decent advice. There's this person on a balance board. This requires uh, really good core strength and a good sense of balance that most beginners are not going to be able to perform. So overall, I actually think that that was a pretty decent TikTok. I'm even going to leave it in here, even though I don't have much to say on it, because I actually felt like the information was pretty good. This was very much her speaking to her expertise, and I thought it was very informative. So I'm pretty much actually going to end it here. It was a shorter video this week. I hope you guys don't mind. I don't even have anything to really say from like the manhwa that I'm reading right now because I haven't really read anything new in the past week. I would like to make a note on my weight loss results for myself. I have consistently logged my food for about 3 weeks now. It is worth mentioning that it seems about once a week I go over my calories. I did have it set for losing a pound a week, and so far I have lost about 2 pounds. Given the number of days that I also came in way under my calories, my guess is that either my Garmin is not accurately quite as accurately recording how much I'm burning, or I am definitely eating um, a little bit more than how I'm recording it, whether I realize that or not. Maybe my portion sizes aren't being accurately recorded or what have you. So going forward, I'm going to be a little bit more stringent in how I record my food and err on the side of more calories instead of less and see how my results are in another 3 weeks. But I'm going to take that 2 pound loss as in 3 weeks as a victory, even though it's not as much as I would have liked. So with that, I think I am done. Thank you so much for watching it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.